Welcome along to those of you joining us on the video stream, the international TV. It's great to have your company. It's John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw in the Haggerty Global Broadcast Centre, overlooking the start-finish line at beautiful, picturesque Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Road America has been testing drivers, engineers and tyre compounds since 1955. Just off the lakes, up the road from the lovely town of Elkhart Lake itself is Road America, built in 1955 to reflect the road racing history of this area. 14 corners, just over 4 miles around, with action areas on the insanely quick entrance to turn 1, barely breathing on the brakes, then harder braking downhill to turn 5 and to turn 8 before one of 2 signature corners that come up very quickly, the long right-handed carousel, and then one of the fastest corners in US motorsport, the kink. It's not just a kink, it's a real corner that leads downhill to Canada corner. The right-hander, lots of runoff on the outside, but can easily catch out the unwary. From there, it's all uphill to the finish line. Well, hello everybody, it's John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw as we're getting ready to go green for what should be a couple of cracking races. The qualifying yesterday was highly entertaining, but there's been some changes, as Jeremy Shaw will explain now as we take a look at the grids.
Indeed, John. This is round 11 of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by the Cayman Islands. Will be 32 cars in the race. Unfortunately, we're missing Justin Oakes, who didn't make the field because his wife is about to give birth fairly shortly, so we miss him. Tom Balamas also not taking the start today either, unfortunately. But we've got 32 cars in the grid. The top 2 in qualifying, however, were Kai van Berlo and Riley Dickinson, 2 Kelly Moss teammates, but a minor technical issue on those cars. They will have to start at the back of the field. So Riley Dickinson, car number 53, will start in the 32nd position. Alongside him, the championship leader, car number 3, Kai van Berlo. Row 15, Vernon McClure in car number 10, also had a problem after qualifying. Grady Willingham in car number 21 was starting in 29th position. Row 14, Craig Conway in that the Scottish Tartan liveried Porsche car number 97 for Irish Mike's Racing will start 31st alongside Tom Collingwood in car number 69. Row 13, Bob Mueller in car number 28 and his Goldcrest Motorsports teammate Jeff Myshak in car number 29. 24th position, Richard Edge for ACI Motorsports in car number 18 alongside Dominic Lecoeur for Goldcrest in car number 30. Row 11, John Getz, second of the AM contenders for Wright Motorsports car number 57 alongside Kurt Swearingen for ACI Motorsports car number 17. Row 10, Pedro Torres for ACI Motorsports and the second in car number 16 and the second of the Irish Mike's Racing entries, car number 95, is Connor Flynn. Row 9, making his debut this weekend, PJ Hyatt for Kelly Moss in car number 23, alongside Moise Uretsky in the Accelerating Performance car number 44. Row 8, the AM pole sitter for the 8th time this season for his own team, MDK Motorsports, in car number 43 is Mark Kwame. Matt Halcombe will start in the 15th position in car number 55 for Goldcrest Motorsports. Row 7, McCann Racing, car number 8 for Michael McCann and Hutton McKenna in the Wright Motorsports, car number 88. Marco Cironi from Canada is a third of the Pro-Am contenders, car number 84 for Mark Motors Racing. Alongside him, the championship contender in Pro-Am, car number 65, Efren Castro for Kelly Moss. Lee Keane will start car number 12 for 311 RS Motorsport in the 10th position, alongside the Pro-Am pole sitter for the 12th time, Kelly Moss, car number 99, Alan Metney. Moving on to the top 8 on the grid, Travis Wiley, car number 77 for Top Racing, and his teammate TJ Fisher alongside in car number 58. Row 3, Varun Choksi, an excellent qualifying run for Wright Motorsports, car number 13, and Dimitri Demarcos for car number 11 for 311 RS Motorsports. Row 2, that's all Kelly Moss again, car number 2 for Sean Varwig, his best ever qualifying performance, alongside him ditto for Michael McCarthy in car number 7. But the front row for MDK Motorsports is Trenton Estep in car number 6, winner of both races in Toronto last time out, and on the pole position, the Canadian in car number 9 for JDX Racing is Parker Thompson.
The lights are out on the Porsche 911 Turbo S safety car, the Bright Guards red machine that leads round the field. It's a long warm-up here, so perfect to get some heat into the Michelin tyres. 40 minutes on the clock. We are ready to go racing for the first of 2 events here this weekend from beautiful Road America. Cars lining up side by side. That new look front row, not at all what we were expecting after qualifying. Parker Thompson then will lead them to the green flag on the inside in the JDX Racing Shell top-up car.
Parker Thompson, this is his 27th start. He does have 5 wins to his credit, but this is his first pole position.
Nice lineup from the cars behind. Pro-Am and Am falling in. They are not split. This is a start where you qualified grid. Can't quite see the green flag yet from the low down seating positions in these cars. They crest the rise now. The green flag is in hand. It is being waved now, and a really good jump from the outside of the front row from Trenton Estep, coming off a double victory at the IndyCar race north of the border in Toronto. Down to the first corner, the pole man, Parker Thompson, leads into the first right-handed corner. He's done at least the first part of his job there, Jeremy, and everybody dutifully staying on track as well. There were a lot of track limits warnings yesterday at turn 1. It is one of the areas that race control are looking very carefully at. Down through turn 3, turn 4 is just a kink. So the next action area, downhill into turn 5. And the leader, JDX Racing, Parker Thompson, with an opportunity to get some clear air ahead of him. He's making good use of that. Michael McCarthy for Kelly Moss in the number 7 car. That's the green stripe on the white car, sitting in 3rd position, just dropping away from the leading pairs. They go under the Corvette bridge and into turn 6 for the first time. Side by side there, but for the moment at least, hold your breath, everybody. It seems as though everyone is playing fair, and already the 2 cars that were demoted to the back are making up positions. Sean Varwick has just gone a little bit wide there at turn 7 and kicked up the dust. Side by side through turn number 8 as well. That was one of the Apex Capital cars, wasn't it, that was going round the outside and into the carousel for the first time. Great way to start this early weekend start for these guys, but what a great way to start a Saturday morning.
Yeah, absolutely right. A tremendous side-by-side start down into turn 1 there. Parker Thompson was on the inside line. Trenton Estep was trying to keep into a tight line going to that first corner, but Parker's got a lot of experience around here in the road to Indy in his formative years of racing, so he was wise to that, maintain that advantage, but all sorts of battling farther down the field. And as you say, both Kai Van Berlo and Riley Dickinson trying to make their way up through the field from the back of the grid.
What they've got to do, Jeremy, here is not trying to be greedy and take too much too early, because these cars are very heavy now with the VP Racing fuel, and they've got to get 40 minutes out of these tyres. This is all about managing the potential for performance throughout the race. First, second, third go across the line. Thompson, Estep, McCarthy with the pink stripes on the front of his Racing for Children's car. Coming through in the next group, Dimitri Timakos leading out there, and the black number 11, still relatively inexperienced, but he's burst onto the scene and he's a quick learner. He is down in, at the moment, down in turn 3 and holding on to 5th position, and behind him, cars going off there. I think that was Varanchowski who went a little wide in the Wright Motorsport car. So the leaders pulling away. Was there even a little touch here, actually, as they turned in? Oh, that's a lot of dirt on the Michelin tyres. It might have been Michael McCann there in the number 8 car. My apologies.
Yeah, and that Dimitri DeMarcos there and Sean Varga, they were absolutely side by side as they came across the start-finish line on that lap. I think DeMarcos just able to squeeze ahead there, and his teammate Lee Keane, who had food poisoning, missed the first practice session. He's also got Deluxe as the primary sponsor on his car, as well as normal on the number 11 car this weekend. They're based not too far away from here and have a whole bunch of guests here this weekend. So welcome to the Deluxe family here at Road America.
I shouldn't have second-guessed myself. It was Varun Chodsky who had gone a wee bit wide in that battle behind Dimitri Demakos for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and on down. Now, how are our two drivers getting on coming up from the back of the field in those two Kelly Moss racing cars? We'll keep an eye for them as they fight their way through. Still only half a second between the two leaders. Parker Thompson from Trenton Estep, they cross the line, then about a second and a half. New fastest lap of the race by the leader and inherited pole position, sitter Parker Thompson. As far as the Pro-Am class is concerned, Marco Cironi leads that in the number 84 car. That's the bright yellow and black machine. And Kai van Berlo not that far behind there. He's already inside the top 15. The Dutchman having to fight his way through. Well, remember what I said about them having to not be too greedy early on? Just forget that. That was a waste of a sentence and some words. Dipping out of the draft, they're going down to turn number 5, and the front part of the car flapping around. I wonder if there's been a wee bit of nose-to-tail contact there for Kai van Berlo as he goes down the inside of the Pro-Am leader. That's the silver, the GT Silver 99 car.
Actually, second place in the cars. Marco Cironi made a great start in his leading Pro-Am, so he's just got ahead of Alan Metney in second place, and right behind him is his championship rival, Efren Castro.
Yes, the leader, as I actually said a couple of moments ago, and then forgot myself, is Cironi in that yellow and black car. So taken by the fact that Kai van Berlo has charged through the field up into well inside the top 15. An incident early on between Sean Varwig and the number 58 of TJ Fisher, the top racing car, is being looked at. So that was that incident down at turn 3 that I think where there was a bit of side-by-side contact. Cironi then just outside the top 10. He's about to lose a position at Canada Corner as the flying number 3 goes down the inside. This is a man on the mission at the moment. Kai van Berlo, having taken pole position in terms of his time, lost it in post-qualifying technical inspection. And in fact, the two front row cars relegated to the back. Modifications made to a small item at the front of the car. And clearly, in a spec formula, you're not allowed to do that. Spotted by the scrutineers and the technical department. So a long, hard day for Kai van Berlo because, of course, it was a single qualifying session for both of the races. So all of the times from those two cars effectively taken away. 32, call it 33 minutes still to go. Thompson from Estep, then McCarthy. Michael McCarthy running very well in the best, for the moment, of the best placed Kelly Moss racing cars in third position. Also fighting through the field, the number 53, as they come through. And that's Riley Dickinson. Oh, there's a touch on Hunt McKenna at turn number 6, side by side there. It is an overtaking opportunity, but you have to give each other room there. Now, is there damage to either of those cars? Riley was there up alongside. Then there was two touches, actually, a little bump going in, and then a further one when the number 88, the yellow and white car, turned in. So initial touch and then a second touch there.
That was bizarre.
Not sure
Not sure what Hutton McKenna was quite thinking there, because Riley Dickinson is clearly a lot faster. He should have realised that. He's been faster all season long. He was qualified with a time on the front row of the grid, and that disqualification, by the way, after qualifying yesterday, it wasn't anything performance enhancing. Trust me on that one. It wasn't. It was kind of a mod that they made to try and minimise the effect of any potential damage that might have been caused during a race. Let's just leave it at that. It wasn't performance enhancing. Everybody acknowledges that, but it was a modification to a part, and that is not allowed. And there's an off-track excursion. That was Sean Varwig, I think, running wide down at the kick. Oops, there's Dominic Lecoeur, who's had a spin as well.
And that was at the same point. That was the dust that was thrown up there. The number 30 car with the hazard flashes on. That's an automatic system on these race cars. The IMSA AMR safety team already rolling from their position at the motorcycle chicane slightly further back, and that is a classic mistake at the kink. Try to take too much speed through it, drop your tyres, your Michelin tyres, onto the dirt, either 2 or all 4. You think you've caught it because you're trying to stay away from the wall on the left-hand side, and then the car gets a bit of grip and spits you across the track straight into the concrete wall on driver's right.
Yeah, it's not called Ricochet Alley for nothing.
No, absolutely, that is a classic. We could go back through the archives, and any series down through the years, there has been an incident like that. Dominic actually has managed to end up slightly further down than most people do. It's normally before the slight right there, before the circuit sweeps to the left. Already the AMR safety team, IMSA safety team there, and talking to the driver. Don't read in anything into the fact that they are not extricating him from the car. They'll have a chat first of all, find out how he is feeling, and then make an assessment as to what is going on. Safety being paramount. Half an hour to go, and we're under safety car, the 911 Turbo S, with the field behind it at the moment, and we'll have to negotiate the remains of Dominic Lecoeur's car. Dominic is out of the machine and got out under his own steam. That's always a good thing to see. Having a chat with the safety team, that's all good. He will have to report to the infield medical centre. He'll be taken down there to have a full checkup, but he's describing in detail what happened to the safety team, so he clearly knows what's happened. There was already some dirt had been thrown up by one of the previous cars, and I just wonder if that took his attention slightly, Jeremy, as he was coming into that exceptionally quick area of the circuit. Yeah,
could have well done. The Frenchman there, that's a pretty sizable incident there, but good to see he's okay. Carl certainly requires some remedial work on that, but hopefully they can get the car back out again for tomorrow. But some fluids laid down there beyond where he was, so maybe somebody else there might have an issue as well.
Yeah, well, there's definitely somebody else earlier on in the piece who went wide. Let's see if we can identify that right now. There we go.
Sean Varwig.
It was Sean Varwig who went off in the number 2, the silver and blue car. And that's what kicked up the dust in the first place. And then Dominic arrives on the scene, and whether that was slightly... And there's another car going off. That was the number 29 as well that went off.
Jeff Myshak.
Yeah, Jeff had a big incident there himself a season or 2 ago, I seem to remember. So a couple of incidents right in front of Dominic that may just have taken your attention, and that's a place where you need full concentration, Jeremy, because I'm not sure it's absolutely flat in these cars. In fact, I'm pretty certain it isn't. But that doesn't make it any easier a corner. Your turn-in point is absolutely crucial because you're carrying so much speed there.
That's right, and it's there's some slight minor undulations in the track there as well. So if you're not, you have to be fully committed on there. You're on the throttle. If you get out of the throttle for any reason, it's going to unsettle the car again, and then you run wide a little bit on the grass. And after that, it's you're in the lap of the gods at that point. and it's very easy for that car to get away from him, which obviously what happened there to the Frenchman Dominic Lequeur. But good to see he's out of the car, and will be able to come back. And he's from Gap in France, which of course is, for anybody who's familiar with the Monte Carlo Rally, will be particularly familiar with that name. But he's based over here these days, drives for the Goldcrest Motorsports team. Super atmosphere there in that little organisation there. But Dominic is going to be out of this race. He started off the season carrying the colours of Momo. He was a huge Momo fan through his
wasn't everybody
years. Well, yeah, isn't that right? But he's now got the Boggy Oasis International on the side of that car now, has Dominic. And cool guy, and just super enthusiastic about his racing.
Just a little bit of housekeeping. That side-by-side contact at turn 6 between Riley Dickinson and Hunt McKenna is under review, and the race control are looking at that at the moment. It's the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. First race from Road America here this weekend. Presented by visitCaymanIslands.com. John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw. The safety car is out and cleanup continues down at the kink. Thank you, of course, to all of our track services, marshals, and everyone who makes these race meetings work, particularly our hard-working flag marshals out on the corners, as well as our medical and safety teams, and, of course, the spectators who have turned out in their thousands again this weekend. It's going to be a very, very big crowd. Weather today pretty much sitting perfectly. Tomorrow, for race 2, well, that might see a wee bit of a change, and Mother Nature may have something to say about the conditions tomorrow. But plenty here, and they've been here since Thursday for Friday practice and qualifying. Campsites are very full. Big turnout for this IMSA race weekend. And here's the Porsches just setting the scene for us today. Record field for any Porsche Carrera Cup set by this championship earlier on in the season at Sebring. And no sign of this championship quieting down anytime soon.
Yeah, it just provides some tremendous competition, doesn't it? And I love this, the age groups that they have, the Pro-Am and Am, which is, unlike some other series which are decided by driver experience, this is done purely on age. And the old farts, as they call themselves in the Am class, they laugh about it because it's pretty cool, quite frankly. These guys, they're over 57 years of age, proud of it, and just loving mixing it with drivers from all age groups, and particularly the youngsters out here as well that are battling for the lead up at the front. But for Mark Kawami here, running in the 19th position overall, ahead of quite a few of the Pro-Am cars, it's a really fine performance by Mark Kawami, and the other guys behind him. John Getz in second position, Jeff Myshak in third place. Jeff Myshak had a big crash at Long Beach. This is his first race since then. He's from Minnesota, so this is kind of a home event for Jeff, and loving being back at the wheel of this car and in third position in Am at the moment.
And it was Am that saw the biggest turnaround after the trip north of the border to Toronto, Jeremy, because not everybody in the field went to the Canadian race, and we have a new points leader coming here this weekend in Bill Smith, but Bill Smith isn't here this weekend.
He's not, no. He won both races north of the border, but there were only two at the Am class contenders made it up there, and one of them, John Getz, actually had a big crash in practice, and they repaired the car enough just to start the races, but he didn't contest the races, just did a lap and came in and parked it so he'd get the championship points. That wasn't what he wanted to do, of course, but with the situation for the car, that's all they could do. So Bill Smith won both the races there, but even he was driving a bit get hurt. He'd had an accident at home, I believe, just before that event, and he damaged his foot a bit. When he got home, he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Yeah, there's some ligament damage there. You shouldn't be driving racing cars." So he's been parched. He's not able to come here this weekend. So Bill, we miss you. We hope you'll be back again pretty soon. But that championship lead that he had gained, not only with those 2 wins north of the border, but also a win in the class at Watkins Glen in the previous round. So 3 wins in a row for Bill. He's not able to defend that championship lead this weekend, so that's going to go away. But it's been a really good season for him in any case, and he'll be looking forward to getting back at the wheel of his number 42 car for Top Racing.
In the Pro-Am category, again, not the full field went up there, and there was a little bit of a tightening of the field in terms of the championship positions there as well, Jeremy, after the 2 Canadian races.
Yeah, the top 2 contenders went up there. Marcus Schroney won one of the races up there with Alan Metney and Efren Castro. They're battling away again as they did last season, and Alan Metney still leads the points here again this year. But that gap to Efren Castro, who won both the races, he won both the races north of the border, De Castro. The gap between those two is just 16 points, 190 for Metney, who drives Company 99 here, is running second place in the class at the moment, to the 174 of Castro, who is at the moment third in Pro-Am during this race. It's Marco Chironi from Canada who leads right now for Mark Motors Racing in car number 84.
And as far as the championship in the front of the field, as we've got time behind the 911 Turbo S safety car, well, Trent Nestep did his championship aspirations no harm by taking pole position and winning both races on the IndyCar weekend on the streets of Toronto. The first US driver, the first American driver to win Porsche Carrera Cup rounds, and he managed to, Porsche Carrera Cup North America round, and managed to take both wins at the weekend. So that moved him up the standings, and we always knew he was a contender, and he quite clearly enjoyed his weekend on the streets up there in Canada. Just keeping an eye on Kai van Berlo and Riley Dickinson's progress. When the yellow flag came out, Kai van Berlo remarkably was inside the top 10. So really, in terms of damage limitation in the championship, he's doing a very good job indeed, having started at the back of the grid with Riley Dickinson. Riley up to 14th position, but crucially already 12th in class, so getting some points as they run up. So those guys have done well. Kai van Berlo, a bit of a double-edged sword for him here with this yellow flag. We've lost 12 minutes of racing, but of course he's also cooled down his Michelin tyres, which he will have used pretty hard in that first 10 minutes or so of racing when he made up all those positions to 9th. And what also this has done is it's closed the field back up again. So when we restart, he'll only be a handful of seconds, albeit 8 cars away from the lead. Is a potential podium on? I'm not sure. It's a bit dusty, the front of that car. And now he's got to fight through faster traffic, or many of whom will not be making way for him. They'll know that they're in a battle for their own championship points as well, Jeremy. So it's not going to be as easy, but he's not in the worst position. If he can get another 12, 13 minutes of racing here, he might be able to be knocking on the door of a podium finish.
Very true. Yeah, I mean, he's certainly got the pace. He hasn't yet had a chance to show it in this race. Parker Thompson does have the fastest.
Yeah, Parker Thompson, fastest lap with a 2:10.032. And therefore, that car is in very good shape. He's led from the drop of the green flag. Just clearing up something that I'm going to have to ask my learned colleague here, Jeremy Shaw. Parker was on pole position. That wasn't an earned pole position. Does he still get the
no,
points for it?
No, I believe so, yeah.
Because it was a DQ.
A technical infraction there for the other car. So, yeah, I think he will get those 2 points it is for pole position this year. Last year, there were 5 points per pole position. This year, 2, which I think is a much better number. And you know, the race winner will get 25 points. So there's 28, therefore, in each race up for grabs, because you also get 1 point for the fastest lap of the race. So far, that has been set by Parker Thompson, a 2 minutes 10.0. And to put it into perspective, qualifying yesterday was 2 seconds a lap faster.
Yeah, that lap, of course, set with the cars pretty heavy early on in the race. They're not going to burn off quite as much of their racing fuel as they would have if we'd had a full 40 minutes. You've got to fuel the cars for the full 40 minutes. You can't count on yellow flags coming. And I reckon we're going to have the better part of 15 minutes still to run. So round about 7 laps of racing around the 4 miles of Road America. 7 laps for Kai van Berlo in 9th position. How much time and space can he make up on the cars ahead of him? Behind the safety car, so he'll be able to see a podium position. Currently held Michael McCarthy in 3rd. His teammate in the Racing for Children's Kelly Moss racing car number 7. That's the white car with the green stripe and the pink on the front splitter of that car. Trent Nestep for MDK Motorsport is 2nd. Parker Thompson leading in the Shell top-up car as they come out of the carousel and down towards the scene of the incident some now 15 minutes ago. Cracking work by our clean-up crews, track services. They had to attend to an awful lot of dust and dirt and also make sure that the concrete walls were all in the right place.
Yeah, still a huge amount of oil dry down there, isn't there, on that racetrack. It's going to make things a little bit tricky for the drivers farther down the field, because that's still going to be kicked up for the first lap or 2 once they get back to green.
So the safety car is pulling away from the field and leaving this Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by visitCaymanislands.com. First race of the weekend in the hands of Parker Thompson. Pole position, has led all of the 7 laps, many of which have been under yellow flag conditions after the incident at the kink for Dominic Lecoeur. Through turn 14, and the engine revs have already picked up. The green flag is waving. Now that's brave from Parker Thompson. He's gone early, but right in his wheel tracks. Trenton Estep saw that one coming, and he'll get the benefit of the draft in the MDK Motorsports car side by side. Van Berlo and Michael McCann as they went across the line, and the challenge for the lead down in turn 1. Parker Thompson felt the need to defend to the right-hand side. He picked that lane early, though. That's fine. Van Berlo has made up another position as he goes through turn 1. He knows he's got a chance here of gaining back some of the positions that he lost after that technical infraction. This is a real opportunity for the young Dutchman to come back through the field, and he is flying. His next target is the bright red 311 RS Motorsport car of Lee Keane, and that is target acquired for the 3rd of the 3 Kelly Moss racing cars. Meantime, at the front of the field, there's a little touch on the left rear of Parker Thompson. Hello, Trenton Estep here. Just letting you know I'm here. I'm pretty certain he knew he was there, Jeremy.
I think he did, and Parker Thompson there was no way he was going to let Trenton Estep get down the inside, either at turn 1 or turn 5 there. Really sensible driving. He knows, Parker Thompson, that this track is hard on tyres. You can't push too hard too soon, and he needs that. Therefore, for Trenton Estep to make it harder to get past him. That's exactly what he did. Perfectly legal, perfectly fair, good, sensible driving from Parker Thompson. Trenton Estep, making sure he knows I'm there, but no way through.
And they've been behind that safety car for quite a while, so they're going to have to go through a warm-up phase on the Michelin tyres again. Meantime, to finish off the story about the side-by-side contact between McKenna and Dickinson, it was the 88 car, Hutton McKenna, who was deemed to have incident responsibility, so that yellow and white car will have to come down through the pit lane. It's not foggy at Road America, although we've seen that some time here. That is dust and dirt and oil dry from the incident earlier on, and they've all picked their way through it. All of these cars are going to need a really good wash down and a polish after this. But there is something rather good, isn't there, about a dirty race car after it's done its work. It looks like it's worked a little bit harder somehow, doesn't it? They'll all have the endurance look at the end of this race. Just under 12 minutes to go. Parker Thompson then leading for JDX Racing. He's pulled out what in the context of this race is a decent gap at half a second. Oh, down the inside, Van Berlo on Varunchowski, who gets a little tap and goes round. Now, how far down the inside was that number 3 car? And second question, has it been damaged? Because Lee Keane's right with him as well. Has he knocked the left-hand steering at all on that car? Is it tracking straight? I think it is. Lee Keane, though, thinks there's an opportunity in the bright red 311 Motorsport car. One or two of the cars with flapping bonnets on the car, including the number 8 of Michael McCann in his McCann racing car. That's the silver, red and black machine at the front of the field still, though. Parker Thompson leads it. The recovering Kai van Berlo started at the back of the grid. 7th now. Riley Dickinson knocking on the door of the top 10 in 11th position. No, make that 10th now as he's gone through.
That'll be a penalty. That'll be a penalty. He was not close enough there, I don't think, on that turn into turn 1. From the glance I was looking the other way at the replay started. I don't think, I'm pretty sure that the race director, Randy Buck, will be looking at that. And I fear that Van Berlo was not close enough, was not far enough along the inside for him to kind of claim that line. And the outside driver's got to turn in at some stage, and contact was made. And around into a spin goes that number 13 car of Varunchowski.
Restart is under review, so there may be just something that was spotted there as well. Now, you may say, what was the difference between Riley Dickinson going up the inside of Hutton McKenna at turn 6 and the incident at turn 1 when Kai van Berlo went down the inside of the 13 of Varunchowski? Well, it's about degree. It's a fair question to ask. It's about how far alongside you are on the car. And now we've got Riley Dickinson coming through the field as he goes past Michael McCann. Clean pass into turn 1. In fact, he was passed before the braking area. We've also got a review of another incident between the leaders, 9 and 6. That's Parker Thompson and Trenton Estep. Now, let's have another close look at the inside. He's not quite there. There was a moment coming into the corner when he was almost front wheel to front wheel, almost. No. But I think he had to brake earlier, and that dropped them back. What race control will also be looking at is whether the 13 car of Varunchowski moved across or whether he held his line. Because moving in the braking area and trying to block, that's as much of a no-no as diving up the inside. Yeah. And that's, I think, what they might be looking at there. Yeah. And that, but for me, Jeremy, that's going to be the only thing that will save Kai van Berlo, who is our championship leader. Let's remind ourselves of that. That's right, having fought his way all the way through the field from the 31st position into 6th as he is right now. It was a lunge down there at turn 1, and turn 1's a pretty fast corner. Yes. Not much braking there, even in these cars. Not an awful lot of braking. That's the point there, and he was kind of lunging down the inside, and that's a very, very bold manoeuvre. So we'll have to wait and see what race control says about that. But in the meantime, Kai van Berlo, he's still on the throttle here, and he's putting TJ Fisher under a lot of pressure. TJ running in 5th position for Top Racing in car number 58, and Kai van Berlo wants that position. Ahead of them both just is Dimitri Demarcos in that 311 RS Motorsport car number 11. That's the black car ahead of the red, white and blue, and the white and green car, silver blue car. They cross the line. Watching the cars go past us here, down the inside again. That's a phenomenal manoeuvre on TJ Fisher. He's just going to drift a little bit wide, but Van Berlo keeps it on the circuit. That was fair. Now that was a very, very good pass indeed. But that's not what we saw early on. He actually came to the corner a little bit quicker than I think he wanted to there, but managed to check the speed from the centre out, from the apex out of that corner, to make sure that TJ didn't have an opportunity to repass with the crossover manoeuvre on the exit of the corner. So now Dimitri Dimakos is the next target for the young Dutch driver. Came to the US to study down in Florida, got the opportunity to do some racing, had raced in Europe. There's a recovering number 13 coming back through the field. Efren Castro's been in and out of the pits, by the way, and that will have championship implications in Pro-Am. And with all the action on the track, I'm afraid to say I didn't quite catch what had happened there, whether there was damage to the car. Well, it looks pretty straight. The pink and dark grey number 65, maybe a change of tyre. I just wonder if he's had a puncture with some debris out on the circuit.
Not sure there was time to change the tyre there. It was kind of weird. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a penalty of any sort.
I'm not seeing a penalty for him.
Didn't cost him that much time, really, did it? Maybe there was time to change a tyre. He was running in the third position in the class in Pro-Am. As we see Alan Metni there putting the pressure onto Sean Varwig. That is not a battle for class position. Varwig runs in the pro category. Alan Metni does not.
But what Alan wants to do here is clear that white and blue car so he can try and put some pressure on Marco Cironi, who is the next car ahead, and that is the Pro-Am leader. Meantime, Dimitri Dimakos now has the blue and green number 3 of Kai van Berlo right in his mirrors, defends down to turn 3, then moves back up the racing line. Dimitri will have to be careful about that. Not seen any action so far for that contact between Kai van Berlo and it was Vorontsovsky, wasn't it, who he hit, down the inside at turn 5. Dodged one way, then the other. Dimitri moved across to cover and then was aware he couldn't move back. Both of them compromised on the exit of turn 5, but that's another position made up by Kai van Berlo, and that puts him, well, we said he maybe had a chance of a podium. He's knocking on the door of the podium now. 4th from the back of the grid with pretty much 15 minutes of potential race time taken away from him. This is a super drive, and Riley Dickinson has quietly done something similar. He's in 7th from the back row of the grid.
Yeah, and that was a textbook pass once again there for Kai van Berlo. Beautiful inside pass from Dimitri Dimakos. Just left his braking as late as he possibly could, kind of parked it at the apex of the corner to make sure he didn't run wide, and allowed Dimakos to do the over-under and come back up the hill to turn 6. Brilliant pass by Kai van Berlo up into that 4th position now. But he's got a fair deficit to make up on Michael McCarthy. There's only 3.5 minutes remaining, so it's only going to be a couple more laps for the leaders. I don't think it's going to be enough probably for him to catch those top 3, but it's still been a brilliant drive on the most part for Kai van Berlo.
And the gap at the front of the field. Oh, hang on. One of the cars that had the flapping front end was Michael McCann, and now it's broken apart, and part of the front end of the car, what would be the luggage compartment on a 992 Porsche, has broken up and is sitting up like an air brake. It is actually part of the ducting, comes in under the front bumper and is ducted out across the bonnet to give a little bit of downforce on these Cup cars. Alan Metni with a new fastest lap in Pro-Am in the iFly number 99 car, by the way, as he's trying to chase down Cironi. And Cironi needs to get past this hobbled car ahead of him because he's coming under pressure from the silver car behind. Down at turn 3, Cironi in the yellow and black car can't get through. maybe now out of 3, and the long, long run through the little kink and under the Sargento Cheese Bridge, down towards turn 5 now, and Metney's right there. I haven't seen Hutton McKenna do his drive-through yet. He's sitting at the moment in 12th position. And this is huge for the Pro-Am battle. Big sideways slide from Tironi. Here comes Alan Metney up the inside to turn number 6. He'll be bold if he goes through there, and discretion and a championship in his mind, I think, being the better part of valour there for Alan Metney.
Yeah, Metney, Tironi at the last minute realised what Metney was thinking about and ducked to the inside, just about in time to defend that position, I think, for Marco Tironi.
A warning for Trenton Estep for an incident with Parker Thompson. I can only think that was weaving around in that little touch down into turn 5 when he was just pushing him into turn 5.
The nudge from behind, yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, that's a great call, I think, once again from race control there. No call on that other incident,
now that
however.
came in after the Kai van Berlo incident was being investigated, so no call, and they normally get done in chronological order, Jeremy. So I think that is going to be okay. So Van Berlo, with 1.6 seconds to make up, has just done his fastest first sector of the race as the white flag is thrown very enthusiastically as the cars go across the start-finish line. One more lap to go for Parker Thompson. His lead is 1.22 seconds. Side by side, Tironi leading Pro-Am in the yellow and black car with the flames on the side. But even with the aerodynamic disadvantage for the number 8 of McCann, he can't get through. The iFly car, the silver car down the inside. Then Hutton McKenna, who's not done his drive-through, he's going to get a slap on the wrist here. He will get a time penalty. Tironi holding on to that lead, but now they are both past. Touch onto the grass. Hutton McKenna moves across, and that was on to the Sean Warwick line there, and the number 2 silver and blue car, big dive down the inside by Hutton McKenna. He's never going to get that stop, and almost takes out the championship leader in Pro-Am. Well, lovely to see those classic colours and back on the circuit, but I'm afraid Hutton McKenna, he's not endearing himself to the drivers around him, or indeed to race control. He's not yet come in to serve his drive-through penalty for contact with Riley Dickinson, and just a super late braking manoeuvre.
Way too late on the brakes. It was what you're looking for there.
I have to say, Alan Metney, huge heads-up driving, saw him coming at various, almost unabated speed, and just delayed his turn-in for a moment. Otherwise, that would have been a big incident. Coming to the final corner then. Pole position, 2 checkered flag. Parker Thompson for JDX Racing crests the rise. It's going to be a little over a second, and this is great news for his championship and the fastest lap of the race and the pole position points. 28 points out of 28 for the Shell top-up driver, Jeremy. Yeah,
tremendous performance by Parker Thompson. He did exactly what he needed to do from start to finish and comes away with a really well-earned victory for JDX Racing.
Across the line for the Pro-Am victory, and inside the top 10 again for Marco Tironi, ahead of championship leader in Pro-Am, the number 99 Kelly Moss iFly car of Alan Metney. And in Am, John gets his second. Mark Kwame is back to winning ways, 16th position as he fought his way through a number of battles there. Mark Kwame then for MDK Motorsports, with that victory, will take back the championship lead in the Am category, as Bill Smith is not here this weekend.
Actually, not quite, because John Getz was also ahead of Mark Kwame, and John Getz finished in second place, and he was only a couple of seconds. He was about 5 positions behind Kwame on the in overall positions. There were 2 Pro-Am cars and a couple of Pro cars between those 2 Am contenders. But for second position for John Getz, I think we'll move him into the championship lead after 11 rounds.
Well done to John and his team for making that car to the start of the 2 races in Canada, because that's what put him in that position. So a good finish from John Getz. By the way, in third in Am was Bob Mueller for Goldcrest Motorsport. In the Pro-Am category, Alan Metney will move further ahead in the standings, Jeremy. Yes, he will.
Yeah, because he came in here with a 16-point advantage over Efren Castro, and Castro finished at the back of the pack in Pro-Am in 11th position. So, yeah, that'll give Metney a pretty substantial lead now going into the final 5 races of the season. Great run again, though, it was for Mark Kwame, as you say, finished in the 16th place. Had a huge battle all the way through that race with a whole bunch of different contenders. Good fun.
And as far as the main, the Pro Championship concerned, as I said, Parker Thompson taking the full 28 for JTX Racing. Trenton Esther backing up his 2 victories in Canada with a 2nd place. Michael McCarthy on the podium in 3rd position. Kai van Berlo fights his way back to 4th position, so will retain the championship lead. We're back to do it all again for race 2 tomorrow, thanks to Jeremy Shaw. I'm John Hindhaugh, and on behalf of our whole team here at the track and in Charlotte, thanks for being with us for Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by Visit Cayman Islands.